Welcome to our exploration of the state of Minnesota, a land of 10,000 lakes and rich cultural diversity. From its bustling cities to vast forests and farmlands, Minnesota offers a unique blend of geography, demographics, social dynamics, and economic opportunities. Join us as we discover the many facets of this beautiful Midwestern state. Minnesota officially joined the United States on May 11, 1858. It has a population of 5.7 million people and covers a total area of 86.9 thousand square miles with a population density of 65 people per square mile. 1. Minnesota is home to the world's largest ball of twine, located in the town of Darwin. It weighs over 17,000 pounds and is still growing. 2. The state motto of Minnesota is L'Étoile du Nord, which means the Star of the North in French. 3. The Mall of America, located in Bloomington, Minnesota, is not only the largest mall in the United States, but also has its own zip code. The state of Minnesota has a diverse racial composition, with a majority of the population being white or Caucasian at 4.6 million. However, there is a significant presence of minorities as well, with 376,000 being Black or African American and 320,000 identifying as Hispanic or Latino. This indicates a growing trend of diversity and inclusivity in the state, as well as opportunities for cultural exchange and understanding. Minnesota is a culturally diverse state with a rich history of immigration, but the most populous ancestries in the state are German, Norwegian, Irish, Swedish, and English. With 1.7 million people identifying as German, it is the largest ancestry group, making up 30.7% of the state's population. This is followed by Norwegian at 13.4%, Irish at 10%, Swedish at 7.1%, and English at 5.9%. These ancestries reflect the strong influence of European immigrants in shaping the culture and demographics of Minnesota. In the state of Minnesota, the sex and age population composition is relatively balanced, with an equal number of males and females at about 2.8 million each. However, the male-to-female ratio is slightly skewed towards males with 100.3 males for every 100 females. The most populous age group for both males and females is in their late 30s to early 40s, with the 35 to 39-year-old group having a slightly higher percentage for males and the 55 to 59-year-old group having a slightly higher percentage for females. This suggests an aging population in Minnesota, with the majority of the population being in their mid to late adulthood. In the state of Minnesota, the majority of births occurred among women aged 20 to 34 years, accounting for 72.2% of all births. This was followed by women aged 35 to 50 years, who accounted for 26.1% of all births. The lowest number of births occurred among women aged 15 to 19 years, representing only 1.7% of all births. Overall, there were a total of 73,901 births in Minnesota, with an average of 57 births per 1,000 women. In Minnesota, the age bracket with the highest rate of non-marital childbearing is the 15 to 19 years category, with a total of 1,291 births in which 91.3% were to unmarried women. This suggests that teenage mothers are more likely to be unmarried in Minnesota. On the other hand, the age bracket with the lowest rate of non-marital childbearing is the 35 to 50 years category, with a total of 19,273 births and only 2,852 births, 14.8%, to unmarried women. This shows that older women in Minnesota are more likely to be married when having children. Overall, these numbers highlight the trend towards a higher rate of non-marital childbearing in younger age groups and a lower rate in older age groups in the state of Minnesota. In Minnesota, the education levels with the highest rates of non-marital childbearing are high school diploma and less than high school, with 47.4% and 46.3% of births respectively to unmarried women. Conversely, The education levels with the lowest rates of non-marital childbearing are graduate degree and bachelor's degree, with 5.3% and 8.2% of births respectively to unmarried women. This suggests a correlation between lower levels of education and higher rates of non-marital childbearing in the state of Minnesota. The state of Minnesota has a relatively high income level, with a per capita income of $41,204. This means that on average, each resident in Minnesota earns this amount of money per year. Additionally, the median household and median family incomes in the state are also relatively high at $77,706 and $98,356 respectively. This indicates that the majority of households and families in the state earn a comfortable income, contributing to the overall economic prosperity of Minnesota. The state of Minnesota has a median earnings rate of $42,707, with males earning a higher average of $49,804 compared to females who earn an average of $36,218. This results in a significant income gap of 27.3%, highlighting the persistent issue of wage inequality between genders in the state. Despite this gap, the median earnings in Minnesota are slightly higher than the national average, indicating a relatively strong job market and overall economy in the state. However, efforts to close the income gap and ensure fair earnings for all workers, regardless of gender, should continue to be a priority for policymakers and employers in Minnesota. In the state of Minnesota, poverty continues to be a pressing issue with 512,312 people, making up 9.2% of the state's population, living below the poverty line. While both male and female poverty rates are concerning, females seem to be more vulnerable with 10.1% living in poverty compared to 8.4% of males. The most vulnerable age bracket to poverty is 18 to 24 years, with 35,923 males and 47,363 females living in poverty, making up 15.6% and 21.4% of their respective populations. This data highlights the need for targeted efforts to address poverty in Minnesota, particularly among young adults and females. In conclusion, Minnesota's unique blend of social, demographic, and economic characteristics make it a fascinating state to explore. Whether you're planning a trip or just curious about the data, be sure to check out Zip Atlas for more information on Minnesota and other states, cities, area codes, and zip codes in the United States. Happy exploring!